Veterans Day is a time for reflection across the country and particularly in our nation's capital, which is where One America's John Hines caught up with a former Navy SEAL as he participates in a ceremony at the Vietnam Veterans Memorial.
The current Interior Secretary is a third-generation Montanan and former member of Congress. But he also spent 23 years as a Navy SEAL, serving in Iraq, Bosnia, and Kosovo. And in honor of Veterans Day, Ryan Zinke joined in a ceremonial reading of the names on the Vietnam Veterans Memorial, recognizing the losses that occurred in a war that began some 50 years ago.
Ronald Joseph Cartwright, Wayne Eugene Fulham, Michael Grimes.
As Zinke and others read the names, it served as a reminder, perhaps, to a grateful nation of the many sacrifices made to secure our many liberties. And Zinke says to experience this memorial, with its thousands of names, can be an emotional moment for many veterans.
You look at what happens with a Vietnam vet. He'll come down, he'll pause. You can tell the vets, they'll pause before they enter, and then they'll go to the period of their service, and they'll put the finger up and they'll scroll through the names, and then they'll come upon a friend that they remember, and then there's a moment of silence. And then oftentimes they'll scribe, and trace the name. But I think it's a tribute to the veterans. It's a special place in the mall for this war. But it's also, I think, an important reflection of our country during the period. And again, a lot of what I received when I came home as a result of the Vietnam veterans that came before me.
Those who came before me, says Zinke, which means mainly those who served in Vietnam, who were the veterans who mentored Zinke as he entered the military more than 2 decades ago.
When I came into the SEALs, it was the Vietnam veterans that were still there in positions of leadership. Many of the Vietnam veterans taught me as a SEAL.
You're a veteran, obviously, Iraq, Kosovo, other places. Talk about, do you have some kind of a message for Veterans Day?
Veterans aren't victims. They're heroes. And today's veteran faces different problems than my generation of veterans. We've been the longest conflict in our nation's history. And when my friends that are still active duty are on the 15th, 16th deployment, it takes a toll on the families. So this Veterans Day, I ask people not only remember the veteran, but remember their families and recognize the sacrifice that the veterans have made and continue to make.
Recognize the sacrifice that veterans have made and do make. A good thought this Veterans Day as we think about a war in a distant land that began some 50 years ago. John Hines, One American News, Washington.